Hello again, and welcome back to my next build diary video. I know I haven't uploaded in a couple of days, and with everything that's been going on in the Path of Exile community, I wasn't super motivated to play over the past couple of days. I've played a little bit here and there, done some grinding. As you can see, we're character level 89 now. New patch notes are out, and some buffs are being made to loot and harvest, and changes are being made, so I'm kind of getting back into the game. We're gonna go over the character, run a map, and I'll talk about where I think the character needs to go next. Gearing is largely the same. I think we've had a couple of minor upgrades. Most notably, we've switched over to using a singularity. Um, it's probably not optimal damage. A +1 wand with spell damage and lightning damage is probably better, but lightning conduit does so much damage on its own that I don't think it's really necessary. I really, really like the hinder of nearby mobs. It helps survivability. This build can be very squishy, especially when you're running into arch nemesis modifiers and stuff, high damage rolls on maps, everything like that. We've gotten ourselves a Vix Lunaris, and we've got our Aorus set up in here for +2 gem levels. This is also our source of Cannot Be Frozen. Huge, huge gain there. It's also, armor evasion, so it's scaling with our grace and determination. We're sitting, a little over 10k armor. Um, that's not hateful. We've swapped from the Valakos sign to a Barracks grip. The Valakos sign is more damage, yes. However, I don't think it's absolutely necessary. I don't think the added damage for the Valakos is better than the life on the barracks. Um, we picked up Arumi's concoction. It's something. We get our armor jumps up to about 14k when we have Arumi's up. That's pretty nice. Um, Other than that, everything's pretty solid. Um, we're progressing through the Atlas quite nicely. Tier 15 and 16 red maps. Map sustain has been pretty abysmal, but we're doing our best to counteract that. We're using a lot of non-map item generation. So we're going into Heist. We've got all these nice map nodes here. We've got almost every expedition node on the tree. There's a couple I just haven't bothered taking yet. More heist nodes, delve nodes, even more heist nodes, and now we're focusing on ritual as far as that goes. And I do feel, even though it's not the most popular mechanic, heist is still very, very profitable. You still see a lot of items and raw currency and valuable things come out of heist. Uh, yeah, let's go ahead, run this T15 map. It's not too hateful as far as modifiers are, but let's get into it. I don't 100% remember if I was using shield charge in my last video, uh, but in case I wasn't, I'll talk about that really quickly. Um, in a lot of ways, Flame Dash is better because it is a blink style teleport. It allows you to traverse up and down ledges, but I found more often than not the internal cooldowns and charge mechanic attached to Flame Dash was leaving me without movement options when I really needed them. So for convenience's sake, we've swapped over to shield charge. And that's just a really simple shield charge, faster attack setup. Nothing crazy going on there. Because it's not really feasible for us to do anything more with that. You know, Fortify really doesn't work unless you're doing significant damage with the shield charge hit, and we just aren't. I did some testing with trigger wands, most notably trigger for Wave of Conviction, uh, and using that to, you know, be our curse application method. It really didn't seem worth it. It just kind of made the mana strain even harder, and for most things, you don't even really need the exposure or curse. It's just easier to self cast Wave of Conviction on tanky targets when they pop up. Having it on trigger, it's a little bit overkill. Um, I've done some testing with trigger on galvanic fields, and while it's really nice, it's also something I find unnecessary. It's more sensible to just cast that manually, in my opinion. The damage is still really, really high, and by and large, we don't have problems killing any content, any bosses. We've done delve bosses with this build, and they're very, very easy. Honestly, your biggest problem is just going to be survivability. Um, it's hard to come by right now, I feel. I've done very, very specific gearing, and sitting at about 5.3k life, I'm finding it hard to find where I would get more. Without just absolutely insane, like, I almost said multi-X, but the Exalt really isn't worth much right now. Without multi-divine tier gear, it's going to be really hard to squeeze out any more raw life total. I really do want to switch into more evasion-based gear so I can start rolling for things like spell suppression, and that should add some amount of survivability. Um, the one downside there is that can put another strain on skill casting since we're Eldritch Battery. At anything below 600 or so active ES, it it's become very hard to sustain consistent cast of Lightning Conduit. Hey, tier 16 map. We're really happy to see that. So, I think the proper route to go with this character now is going to be moving into spell suppression gear if we can manage that without dropping our ES too low. Um, I don't know. It's getting a little tough to figure out how to squeeze anything more out of this character, even though I'd really, really like to. The damage is fantastic, but the comparably low survivability is a hindrance at times, and it can feel really, really bad in higher tier content. For anything you don't immediately explode, the chance you get popped is super, super high, and that's unfortunate. Um, yeah, I guess our big deal is just figuring out how to maximize survivability. Getting a couple more levels and everything definitely won't hurt. I'd like to play this character up until like 95 at least. Uh, but other than just trying to eke out the last a little bit of survivability we can, and that's going to primarily come in the form of spell suppression, I think this character is kind of reaching its tier of easy upgrades are kind of over and done with. Um, Everything else is going to require incredibly specific gearing or just sheer luck. But, you know, sometimes that's the game. Path of Exile. A lot of things just tend to be like that. But, hey, I've had a lot of fun with the character so far. It's done so much content, and even if I can't eke out more survivability, this is going to be a really great farming character. It's going to handle red tier maps and everything just fine. Um, Worst comes to worst, I start up something like Explosive Arrow Champ or something with a lot higher survivability, and we build that to do like the Uber bosses and everything with, because the amount of survivability on this character, I don't really feel comfortable taking this into conquer fights and that sort of thing. I just don't think it's going to do well there. Um, Anyways, that's our build update for now. I'm gonna play a little bit more today, see if I can't work out gearing and such a little better. Um, yeah. Um, if you've been stopping by watching my videos, I super appreciate that. I'm really enjoying making these, honestly. Um, Other than that, thanks for watching. Feel free to like, subscribe, leave a comment if you have any tips, tricks, anything you think I'm doing wrong, anything you think I could improve. Um, yeah, we'll see you next time. Bye.